Hello everybody, my name is Sam and welcome back to English Sponge. Today we have another B2 level podcast for you guys and we're going to be discussing a cultural phenomenon. We are going to be discussing Harry Potter. As always, I'm joined here by James today. How you doing, James?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. Thank you for asking.
So, I guess we'll get straight into the discussion. And I'll ask, why do you think Harry Potter, of all stories, of all pieces of art created in the UK, why was it Harry Potter that grew to such a global popularity?
I don't really think it's much of a mystery. I mean, I think the story itself is just very good. It's very well written. I read Harry Potter when I was about 11 years old, like a lot of kids here in the UK. The reason Harry Potter became such a phenomenon in the beginning, obviously, was the books, not the movies. The movies came later. And basically, Harry Potter taught a generation to read, basically. Like, there are millions of kids all over the UK, probably all over the English-speaking world, who basically started reading because of Harry Potter. When I was 11 years old, I remember just being so enthralled with the story of Harry Potter, just absolutely enthralled. And I was a kid who really had not read very much before those books. I had not read really. But as soon as I picked up the first Harry Potter book, suddenly I was reading these big, thick books. You know, for example, the fifth book of Harry Potter is absolutely huge. It's a really big book, but even as a little, 13-year-old or whatever, I read the whole thing within a matter of a couple of weeks. So that's really the reason that it's so successful. It's just that the story itself is just well written, and it captured the imaginations of young people all over the world, basically. So
Yeah. So for me, Harry Potter was a huge part of my childhood. I was actually born after the books had been released. So unfortunately, I didn't really get to read them as they were coming out. But I was growing up as the movies were getting released. So I did still have that same sort of connection to it. Harry Potter in my household was huge. My sister and I used to love Harry Potter. In fact, at one point in time, we could quote pretty much word for word the entire movie to each other, which looking back is a little bit sad, more than anything. But you spoke about sort of the English-speaking world and how it taught an entire generation of people to read in the English-speaking world. But from my time living in Argentina, I realised that Harry Potter really transcends the English-speaking world. And in fact, Harry Potter did not just teach English-speaking kids how to read. It taught lots of people around the world how to speak English. A girl I met in Argentina, she had a really good level of English. Her English was around C1 level, I'd say. And she'd never taken any formal lessons, she'd never studied grammar, she'd never done anything like that. She had watched the Harry Potter movies hundreds of times. Trust me, I watched these movies with this girl and she was quoting the lines before the character was saying them. That was her level of knowledge. She managed to arrive to a really high standard of English through watching Harry Potter alone, essentially. And she's not different to everybody else. I met quite a few people out there who, when I asked, so how did your English get to this level, or how did you learn? They put Harry Potter, either the books or the movies, as the core part of what developed their skills.
yeah, definitely. Although I hope that she wasn't learning ridiculous vocabulary like Expelliarmus or Avada Kedavra and thinking that it's normal English. No, it's definitely true that Harry Potter has helped a lot of people to learn.
So, for me, I think one of the big reasons that Harry Potter appealed to so many people around the world especially so many sort of younger people, teenagers, slightly younger adults as well, is this feeling of not fitting in. The main character of Harry Potter feels somehow different to everybody else. And the author, J.K. Rowling, managed to capture a feeling that many young people have. And she managed to explain that difference in a way that made it something special, something magical. And that's why I think it really, really took off to the extent it did.
Yeah, I mean, everybody loves an underdog character, right? Everyone loves the underdog. And Harry, at the beginning of the show, he's basically an orphan. He's an orphan. He has no parents. He's treated horribly by the Dursleys family that he lives with. He lives in a cupboard under the stairs, for God's sakes. I mean, that's bordering on child abuse, to be honest.
Oh, not bordering.
That is child abuse. So the Dursleys need to be locked up. But yeah, of course, Harry is an underdog, and then he becomes a hero. And yeah, it's a lot of people love this kind of story, and also the villain in Harry Potter is also very good as well. He who must not be named. Yes. Voldemort. Voldemort is a fantastic villain.
You said the name, James.
I'm sorry, I should not have said I shouldn't have said the name. It's a dangerous thing to say. Yeah, definitely when I was a kid reading the books, Voldemort really did give you a feeling of fear. He really was terrifying. Like every time he was on the pages, you felt scared of him. He's a very good villain, I would say as well.
Nice. So, now we've been sort of talking about the characters a little bit, I'd like to know, who is your favourite character in the Harry Potter series, and why?
This is an incredibly tough question, actually. I don't know if I have an answer right away. I suppose if I had to choose one character who's my favourite, it's got to be Snape, right? Snape is a fantastic character. Maybe I should not give any spoilers here. I should not.
The movies and books have been out for a very long time. I think you can.
Okay, I'm gonna.
If you haven't read them yet and you plan on doing it, cover your
ears now. I'm going to reveal a secret about one of the characters. So Snape is a fantastic character because throughout the story we are led to believe that he's a bad guy, right? That he's really working for Voldemort. But at the end of the last book, in the last movie, you discover that Snape really has been really a good person. He's actually been one of the best characters, the character with the most good in them. I really love the twist. There's a twist at the end of the show, and yeah, definitely Snape is one of my favorite characters for that reason, I would say. What about you? Who's your favorite character?
Ooh, it is a really tough one. I'm split between two, and they're best friends to make it even more difficult. Remus Lupin and Sirius Black. I think I'll lean more towards Lupin as opposed to Sirius, just because we get a lot more time with Lupin in the books, and therefore I get more of a chance to connect with him as a character. He really fills out this role of protecting Harry, and he does so much to help Harry develop. I don't think Harry, the character, really becomes what he does at the end if it isn't for the influence of Lupin. Lupin sort of stands above all the other teachers, in my opinion, as the person who really looks out for Harry and really wants the best for him. So that's why I'd go with Lupin. Yeah,
it's a good choice. Interesting choice. Obviously, Sirius Black is a good character, but another spoiler, he dies. I think in the 5th or 6th.
Yeah.
The 5th.
It's at the end of the 5th book, and we only really meet him at the end of the 3rd book. So if we got more time with him, and there was more time for me to sort of develop that connection, that bond with the character, I think he would be my favourite. But as we don't, I'll go with Lupin. Nice. Okay, so what do you think Harry Potter is trying to teach people? What lessons are these books trying to give its reader?
This is actually a good question, because a lot of people think that Harry Potter is just a shallow silly story about, wizards and magic and stupid childish things. However, there are actually some pretty deep themes in the book. The one that comes to mind for me is the Death Eaters and Voldemort, and how this is actually quite a similar comparison to things like Nazi Germany. Okay, so this is what I believe J.K. Rowling actually said, that the Death Eaters are actually inspired by like the Nazis. Because it's a similar situation. You have a strong, powerful leader who would be Voldemort, and this would be, of course, Hitler, right? And so the Death Eaters would be the followers of Hitler, the Nazis. And the books go through basically how, as Voldemort comes to power, all of these people sort of come out the woodwork, right? All of these people with maybe bad character, they either join out of fear because they're scared of Voldemort, or they join because they're not good people and they really want to do harm to others. And becoming a Death Eater is a chance to be able to hurt others and be able to do harm for others. So I thought the way they showed how the Death Eaters act and the different reasons Death Eaters joined Voldemort. Like, for example, that character, Peter Pettigrew, right? Wormtail. He basically joins out of fear because he's just scared and he doesn't know what else to do. So he joins Voldemort because he's scared. And it's a good way to show fighting against this kind of thing. Harry and his friends, they fight against this movement of the Death Eaters and Voldemort. What about you, Sam?
Oh, I think there's lots of things we can pull from the stories or take from them. I think a big one is, it's pretty sort of surface level, I guess, but almost this idea of never giving up, especially when you're fighting for something you believe in, right? During the 7th book, it seems like all hope is lost. It almost seems like an unwinnable situation. But they find a way through. They manage to sort of win at the end of it. And it really reminds me of that feeling of, if you truly believe in something, you should be willing to sacrifice for it. And whilst, yes, I feel that is a little bit surface level, as it is a little bit obvious, like it's not the most sort of deep or meaningful thing that you can pull from a book or put into a book either, still important, especially in a series of books written for young people. Young people in this world, often the world in front of them seems impossible. It seems as if, everything's set against them. So trying to inspire that level of grit, that determination within people, it's only a good thing. There's actually a quote that I have written here from Dumbledore. And I think it's a really important one to mention. And I want to see if you agree with it or not, James. So Dumbledore said, "It is our choices that show who we truly are." Do you agree with that statement?
Yeah, I mean, that's a deep statement. I suppose maybe yes, because a lot of the times you are born into certain circumstances, but it's really what you choose to do that shows who you are. I suppose, in a way, the fact that I chose to become an English teacher, maybe that says something about me. So I think it is true. I think it's a good quote that it does kind of give you an insight into who somebody is in terms of what they choose when they are given a choice. What choice do they make?
Yeah. So I do agree with the quote, and for me it's really important because it demonstrates that actions, not words, are what's important. Lots of people talk, lots of people say lots of big things, great things even, but their actions don't match up with what they say. Let's take language learning, for example. So many people around the world say, I want to learn a language. I really want to learn English. I want to learn Chinese. I want to learn whatever language. Yet their actions don't match up with what they say. They do not put the effort in. So I completely agree with the quote here. I think it's a really lovely way of showing this this sort of idea that actions, not words, are what really matters.
Yeah, that is very true. The number of people that I know who've said they want to learn French and they want to study French, they never do it. You know, because they never really sacrifice or make a real choice to learn. One other thing I like about the Harry Potter books, okay, is that Harry and his friends need to break the rules in many occasions to do good things, to fight, right? And I like that concept because Harry is always breaking the school rules. There are other characters like Percy Weasley, who is always following the rules. But the thing is, in one of the movies, when Professor Umbridge, right, this evil character takes over the school, this character Percy is now doing bad for the Professor Umbridge, right? He joins her because he always follows the rules, no matter what, right? Even if the rules are bad, he just follows them. Whereas Harry and his friends are always breaking rules when he feels like it's the right time to break a rule. And I think this is a good lesson for kids, personally.
So you're telling kids to break the rules at school, James?
Don't listen to your teachers.
Don't listen to your teachers.
Just break all the rules you can. That's my message to young kids.
Yeah. I guess the last sort of talking point I want to discuss with you today, James, is the wider impact that Harry Potter has had in our popular culture. Can you think of any things in the wider world that you see? Maybe it's merchandise, maybe it's, I don't know, something related to Harry Potter that you see in our everyday life?
It's a tricky question. I suppose there have been a lot of other similar shows made, perhaps, like a lot of other stories that have similar kinds of ideas with magic and spells and so on. And I think, maybe Harry Potter was one of the original shows like this. Obviously, there were shows before Harry Potter, like Lord of the Rings and books from a long time ago. But I think Harry Potter definitely has set a trend for many other stories that have come after it. But what about you? Can you think of any wider impact that it's had?
I can think of two main ones. Firstly, it is Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida. They have Harry Potter World, an entire section of the theme park that is in the style of Harry Potter. They have the castle, they have Hogsmeade, I believe, the little village next to Hogwarts. There's lots of great roller coasters, you can buy wands, you can buy robes, you can even drink butterbeer in some of the taverns that you see from the movies. It's always super busy. I went once about 13 years ago, but it was a good experience. I had a really good time. The other one is something they don't do anymore. Every year in September, people gathered at King's Cross Station early in the morning to hear the Harry Potter announcement. They would put an announcement over the tannoy in the train station that the Hogwarts Express would be leaving from platform 9 3/4 at, 9:30 in the morning. And hundreds, if not thousands of people would gather there every year so they could experience that moment. There has definitely been a huge greater impact when we look at Harry Potter and wider culture and its presence in the world. Even in places where you'd never expect to see Harry Potter, it's there. In Buenos Aires, there were shops selling Harry Potter merchandise and only Harry Potter merchandise in a Spanish-speaking country on the bottom of the world. To me, as an English person, who grew up very close to where Harry Potter is set, that's crazy. It was really, really remarkable to me.
Yeah, I'm always shocked. As a kid, I always thought that Harry Potter was just an English thing, just a British thing. But I really didn't realize that the entire planet was like watching it. I think that is kind of crazy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to finish off with a recommendation for some of the lovely people here at English Sponge. If you love Harry Potter and you're into video games as well, about a year ago or so, maybe 2 years now, a game was released called Hogwarts Legacy. Now, I played this game and it was fantastic. And I'm pretty sure now you can find it for relatively cheap as well. I think playing through Hogwarts Legacy would be an amazing way to get some English comprehensible input if you're at the B2 level and above. And if you're a Harry Potter fan, it's an amazing experience. Super immersive, you get to walk around all of Hogwarts. It really feels like you're there, like no other show or experience has captured.
Yeah, that would be good. I think definitely you can learn through video games past an intermediate level. Yeah, I think video games would be an awesome way to learn English.
Cool. Okay, James, do you have any final comments or points you'd like to make about Harry Potter today?
Yeah, only that if you are somebody who hasn't watched Harry Potter and maybe you think it's just a kid's movie or a kid's book, maybe give it a shot, because I think it's good, even if you're a fully grown adult, yes, who doesn't believe in magic and so on. I think it's still a good thing to watch. I think you will still enjoy it. So that's what I would say.
Yeah. What I'd add as well is I think if your reading is around the upper B2 level, the first book is a fantastic entry point for you to reading more native level texts. It is a book aimed at people around 12 to 13 years old. So I think if you're around upper B2, I think it'd be the perfect medium for you. It would be challenging still, of course, especially with some of the grammar utilised, but the vocabulary should be perfect for your level. So I'd recommend giving it a go if you're around that level and looking for something to read.
Yeah, I would say if you're upper B2, it would make perfect comprehensible input, because probably at the upper B2 level, you would probably understand more than 80% of the vocabulary in there. So you could probably read it quite smoothly without too much stopping and translating, I would say. Anyway, guys, thank you for listening to this podcast about Harry Potter. Hope you enjoyed it, okay? And I keep listening to English. Right now, we have around 25 extra videos that you can watch. And this number is going to keep increasing. So we're going to have more and more videos in the members area. If you want to support the channel, just go ahead and become a member of the English Sponge channel. We would really appreciate it. And you'll get lots of extra videos as well. So thank you for watching today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.